in this hole because what was I can't remember what I was watching, but it was a short where they're talking about Hamzat actually, and they're like, well, this guy, he got knocked out by him, but he gave him a fucking crazy fight. And so I watched that fight, and also, god damn, dude, these guys are psycho. Like, so Ikram's not a clown. No. They really want to embarrass him.
Yeah,
a lot of people are like, who the fuck is this? They want to embarrass Costa. Like, who'd you lose to? Everyone, like Shelby, Maynard, all those guys know exactly who he is, dude. And they want him to see, like, wow, Costa really lost to that guy.
Yeah, because that's a huge push for Costa. And you got to wonder how much Costa pushed back on that also, and how fast, he just decided to take it. Because, like we mentioned, the dude fought like 2 weeks ago, if that. And Costa he's been pretty selective in the past about opponents and stuff. Well, I don't even know if he's necessarily been that selective, but we know how he plays this troll game.
He just is who he is. Yeah,
the debacle.
That's
with
for who he's depicted himself as as the fight he took. Probably really shows like you probably did get offered some good fights and you just didn't take them, dog. And now they're like, here, motherfucker, fine.
I can see that. Yeah, because his name's been brought up in discussion with a few other fights leading up to this. But Ikram, he just he had just fought, so clearly his name wasn't in the mix to fight Costa until very recently.
And then he did them a solid. He's like, I'll do it. That's got to be like, fuck, that guy's probably, if he wins or if he even gets it to like a split decision, fuck.
To the moon. Yeah, that's a big push, man, for an unranked killer to get an opportunity against like one of the more famous middle.
And a lot of the dags are getting that. Look like Umar. Look at what's his name is fighting Sean Strickland. I mean, Strickland's not but he's still top 10. Magomedov, Abu, whatever. Like it's just like, oh, you're from Dagestan. You've done more than two. You've done more than two tournaments in Sambo? Oh, okay. Well, here's a top 10 guy in your weight class.
Oh, you can put 4 English words together to form a sentence. You can say, I smashed these guys? Oh,
yeah, dude.
Yeah, we're all about it. So a lot of big MMA news dropped today regarding mostly the UFC 291 card. So I figure that we will, and then
just of course, sandbagging Francis
Ngannou stuff.
Just sandbagged him, like, oh, hey, great, check this out. Fuck, dude, because no one's talking about that like really anymore.
About Francis?
Well, I mean, they did. It really hit like it. This morning was like off and running, like. Yeah. The wheels were turning, and then now everyone's like, "Oh fuck, Jan Blachowicz!" Like,
they're bringing back the BMF title.
Yeah, because it wasn't even like, and I get that has to be a troll drop too. It's like, oh, the BMF title is more interesting than anything you're gonna do in 2027 or whatever it is.
I suppose. I mean, that's kind of an interesting angle to take with Poirier and Gaethje. Like, I wonder what that says for them and their place in the division. Like, does giving them a fight for a BMF title, a made up, well,
we see where Masvidal and Diaz are now, so it's like what god damn it, I don't know what that was, but it's like, oh, that's how you see me, like because like I remember being in high school and being like friends, and then we would use the same inside joke to make fun of these people that like were on the outside, like a real snarky shitty joke, because they were like, for whatever reason, I'm just judging and being a hater, and then they made the same joke about me, and I was like, you see me that way? And I was just like, oh. So like, is this what that belt is,
yeah, like, is it the UFC subtly saying like, listen guys, don't worry about trying to be title contenders anymore, let's just,
it's like when the kid the special needs kid wins prom king or whatever, and he's just like jacked as fuck, and like the hot chick's right there clapping next to him, like everybody's just like, but like, and everybody's real happy, and they'll still go, but they know that crown is a crown of lies.
The crown of
And then you just see the Giga Chad like quarterback clapping hella hard too.
Yeah,
just like, hell yeah, dude, I'm gonna pound that chick that's next to you tonight, dog. Like, way to go.
I gotta say, I do have faith in Dustin Poirier and Justin Gaethje to Take
wow.
this.
Yeah.
First
Gaethje
of all,
looks hungry.
yeah. First of all, yeah, it's going to be a firefight. I think that's a great fight. Not one that I'm like, oh, I don't want them to run it back or whatever. Let's fucking we'll do that. They make them fight 10 times. But I also have faith that those guys are going to turn around and be like, all right, I'm BMF champ. Who's next? Let's do this. Keep doing this. I'm going to defend this BMF title.
Put a ruby on this motherfucker.
Because Masvidal, I mean, maybe Masvidal would have also done the same thing if he had won his next fight, but he went and immediately lost to Kamaru Usman. So then they're just going to pretend the BMF title doesn't exist. Or I guess, that it wasn't up for grabs, but I think that I never really considered how interesting to me it would be if they just set up like this little super fight division within the lightweight division with the BMF title. I think that's an interesting place for some of the older guys to go who maybe still have title aspirations, but also know that they were probably not planning to stick around in the game for that much longer.
It's like the PGA Tour has like the Champions Tour, where it's like older guys that like they have to hit a certain criteria to get there, but like you see them, they play like on Wednesday night, and you're like, oh shit, I haven't heard that guy's name in like a long time, but they're still like doing it,
And I think that benefits the UFC too, because you don't want to set up too many scenarios where some guy's going to get a strap and maybe defend it once and be like, all right, that's it, I'm calling it a career, and then you get these vacant titles and stuff. Just I think it always stays. It's always stronger for the title to remain linear and not have these gaps where somebody just vacates it.
I've never like hated something and then been kind of like, but it is kind of cool more than that fucking BMF whatever. I've never thought like that is so fucking stupid, and then it's still like sick as fuck. Like I could like Connor's for sure gonna win it. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and agree. Like I'm kind of in that same boat where I like the BMF title itself doesn't do a whole lot for me, but what it represents is the UFC willing to go and experiment a little bit, which they rarely do. They don't fuck with their formula very much. So when you see them do something like this, it's like I look at it and be like, that's kind of dumb, but I like that you're trying new things. So,
and then so this is total conspiracy theory, and I'm here for it right now. I'm off that pin right now.
Should I catch up?
But do they have to have some type of title to like? But I don't think the commission really matters. It's in Salt Lake, right? So to get a 5-round fight, does there have to be some type of title in a pay-per-view? No. Does there have to be some? Oh, well then, okay. No. Fuck it.
Bilal, well, then again, that was on pay-per-view though, because I was gonna say Bilal and Burns fought 5 rounds and there was no title on the line or anything. But I don't think so. I think they can go 5. Here's the thing. I bet they can go 3 if they want.
Yeah, probably. They should. Should they? I think so. I think letting Gaethje go in a 3 would be better, more entertaining. Poirier is going to win because it's a 5, if that makes sense.
You think it benefits Poirier for 5? Yeah. I'll agree with that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd prefer to see 5.
Fucking sick fight.
Yeah. Great, awesome fight for sure.
Yeah.
Let's talk about, before we switch over to the Francis Ngannou stuff, since we're talking about the other fights.
Oh, I gotta post that meme because I haven't seen that posted.
Which one?
I was like, dude, if you can get this out, that could be like a straight up fucking.
Oh, the Perry one. Oh yeah, we got to keep riding the wave of Bousquet reposting our shit. And I was thinking about that earlier too, because when you said, we got to put Mike Perry's face on this, I was like, dude, that's a fucking hit. I was so sad that I couldn't be at home making it really quick.
Yeah, I was thinking like, if there's anybody that can do that, it's you. You should have fucking I hate that you would have to do that, but you should have fucking
make his face darker.
No, it looks absolutely perfect. I mean, watermarked it.
Oh, you want me to? Here,
because on Twitter you can just fucking do it. But for those of you that don't know the Giga Chad, this is where we're at in our podcasting careers, where the Giga. But I mean, I guarantee you, like fucking legit ass fucking meme pages with like a fucking retweet, quote tweet. A
Hell yeah.
retweet's one thing. A quote tweet is fucking sick. From the sickest to me, this guy's the sickest guy, dude. Dude, this guy, I could watch this guy read Mein Kampf, dude, and just be like happy as fuck. I just be like, fuck, dude, sick. But it'd be the third time I've heard it. But like it would be cool as fuck for him to read it. You know what I mean? Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, that's the fucking guy right there. Honestly, I would rather meet him than a lot of fighters.
Oh, dude, 5,000%. Because I've met fighters before, and it's not what you think it is. It's definitely not meet your heroes, dude. Because it's just like it sounds like some of these guys too. It's crazy. Have you ever like stood under a power line and just heard that like buzzing?
Yes.
That's what it's like when they're talking. It's like you can hear their brain just like they're fucking shit short circuiting in their head. There's some of them are very smart. It's like puts you back. I'm saying like I met hundreds of them. I probably met like between 8 or 9, and none of them are like I've met like one champ. So it's not like anything, and it's like a long time ago fucking champ. You know what I mean? And so it's not nothing like Chuck Liddell's like kind of cool and weird. Like he's very cool and weird, like just looking straight through you. He just looked like right through me. I was like, dude, are you even like, it's like going to a snake exhibit, dude. And like the eyes are like, you like see yourself in the snake's eyes. You're just like, what the hell, dude? It was very odd.
Tito Ortiz back in the day. I
same.
wouldn't say
Tito,
I didn't
Nick
meet
Diaz
him.
was the power line guy.
Yeah.
The thing about like listening to power lines crunch over your head was being in a room with Nick Diaz. That guy's very weird.
Tito, I didn't interact with him, but I heard him talking with a lot of people who were in line to get like autographs and stuff. This was like back in the 2010s. Oh, no, excuse me. Before the 2010s. This was like 2008, 2009. And he seemed very, very engaged with people. Like he was actually very chatty and stuff. And people who I know who talked to him said that like it was a really cool experience.
He's probably on ecstasy because his porn star wife. That's probably what it was. Fuck. And then I met like smaller guys, like smaller promotion guys, and then like guys that you wouldn't like. Benson Henderson's pretty cool. He was kind of like, he had the toothpick, so that was like, oh, that's sick. Benson Henderson with the toothpick, fuck yeah.
If I were to walk up to him and didn't see the toothpick, I would have second thoughts. I'd be like, well, I guess there's no wait. But if I had to wait in a line and I saw that he didn't have the toothpick, we're moving on.
And then Kane, the wrestler, pretty cool. That guy was cool as fuck. Is actually fucking huge. And not the Undertaker's brother. I was surprised to know.
What? All right, I'm about to send this watermarked meme over.
Oh man, I'm not gonna.
Where's that?
I already made a Mein Kampf joke, but I'll save this one. I'll save the. I got a couple of jokes.
Other fights on this card. On the UFC 291 card that we haven't discussed, Jan Blachowicz versus Alex Pereira, the Polish Power, welcoming Alex Pereira to the the light heavyweight division. I thought that it might have ended up being, or I thought that it was going to end up being the winner between that Anthony Smith. Did I just get his name wrong? It's Anthony Smith, right?
Yeah, who had a PTSD moment. Did you read that?
I didn't. I heard what he was saying in the cage. He was saying, you're attacking my family.
Yeah, it was from a different fight. And they said that his brain, he has CTE. Because Johnny Walker's like, I can't speak English hardly. So like, I don't know what you're saying.
That was very...
He was like, but I read it on Calf Kicker, the website Calf Kicker. They said that it was in regards to
the home invasion?
It was. Something no, not a home invasion, but another fighter who in press conferences and other like on Twitter and everything was like saying some pretty crazy stuff about his family. And they said that he was getting hit, and like his eyes were like kind of glossed over, and then he just like, I guess that's what he went to. And he's like, dude, that's not even me. That would be so scary, dude.
Oh yeah.
If you're like fucking someone up, and then you just see their brain is like just short circuiting, like years coming off their life right in front of you.
The eyes glaze over.
Yeah, dude. Like swimming with the shark, and you're just like, whoa, what the hell?
Yeah, that's not what I want to hear a guy saying who I'm locked in a cage with. It's like you're attacking me. Because if you're Johnny Walker, you're probably like, what the fuck did you just say, dude? I heard him say that, and it was so weird, like how well the mics picked it up, or it was in the audio, because it almost felt like they knew it was going to be said. It was picked up so well. Whereas other times, fighters have been talking inside the cage, and I can't hear it for shit. And the commentators will comment on it. They'll be like, "Oh, he just said this right now," and it's like, dude, I didn't hear that at all. But I heard this clear as day.
Yeah. Well, because it was just shutout. It was just a shutout. Johnny Walker's impressed me. Kavanaugh's really impressed me.
He's come a long way since going over to SBG Ireland. It feels like they're finding the right mix of calm and chaos in Johnny Walker. Yeah, good for him. And you guys had put in the group chat about fighting Pereira, and like Pereira would spark him. I definitely think Pereira could knock him out. Not saying he couldn't, but Johnny Walker walks around like literally he's LeBron James. Like I don't know if people realize that. Like he's 6'6", all of 6'6", like 250, walking around, and he's maybe 11%, 12% body fat doing that. That's wild, dude. That is huge. When that clip showed up of him just walking around with no shoes on in his fight kit, like in Vegas after the fights, he looked like a giraffe among normal people. Like he just looks so. I mean, it sure didn't help that he was wearing his fight trunks and gloves still, but he's just a different species. That guy. Yeah, no, I 60 seconds. That Mike was being that was a bold one right there, because I got Pereira.
Mike definitely puffed out his nose when he typed that, like you know the Mike.
Yeah, just exhaled through my nose. Yeah, because I mean I got Pereira sparking him too, because he's just too sparkable. Like everyone hits him.
Well, he was. He looks great, and then that's the thing though, because I think strategically, I don't think Pereira isn't gonna be long for like heavyweight. I just think something tells me, I can't explain it to you. I just don't think it's gonna be what he thinks it's gonna be, and what a lot of people think it's gonna be. Just because you can size bully guys, and he never really fought too many grapplers. No. And the guys that he's gonna have to fight, like Jan Blachowicz, like those dudes where he's gonna get the guys, they hit him at middleweight. They didn't give him, he didn't get Whitaker, he didn't get a lot of guys that he could have got. You won't be able to really hide him as much in that top portion of, at least I'm not saying like Jordan Burroughs is up there waiting for him, but for sure there's guys that like they know the game, and they know, and he's almost pretty lucky that Anthony Smith didn't fucking win. You know what I'm saying?
I agree. I mean, the path to the middleweight title was tailor-made. They really made sure they gave him all the best opportunities. And it's not to say that the guys he fought weren't tough, but stylistically they weren't made to like disrupt his game. I think it really depends on how the UFC wants to push him at light heavyweight, because there's plenty of guys who like they're bigger. And they're going to be able to size bully him a little bit more than he's used to, since he was the bully before. Yeah, but there's also a lot of
he's very wiry. You know?
But there's also a lot of guys who are just sluggers. Also, that's the archetype. I think. Going back to what got us on this topic, discussing the Jan booking, I think it could go bad early for him with Jan Blachowicz. I honestly think that if Jan decides to try
calf kick him, just to keep calf kicking him.
Jan, his stand up is kind of herky jerky looking and looks a little bit awkward. He doesn't look like the crispest striker, but he's not horrible. He's very serviceable. He has power, but I really think that if he decides to take it down right away and is able to get it there, that could be trouble very early on for Pereira. So that's one I might definitely chase points on. Like, I think he's as live a dog as anything, and if we could bet in California, I would probably be dropping some scratch on Jan Blachowicz in that fight.
You can bet in California.
The hoops that you have to jump through, it sounds like.
Crypto wallet swaps and shit I always have to do. It's like fun.
Yeah, man. It's not worth it.
Everyone thought I was hella cool. They're like, dude, you have crypto? I'm like, yeah. They're like, why? It's like,
by necessity.
Yeah.
So that's a fiery one. But I think if he passes that test, that first test at light heavyweight, which is a stiff test, and the UFC sees him as a viable title contender, they could certainly give him some matchmaking that's going to get him there.
Absolutely.
Get him in the cage with a Yuri Prohashka the disrespect Jamal Hill. The disrespect for me forgetting his name. What okay, me and forgetting black guys' names. Name more iconic.
I think that it's not so much that you forget. I think that your mechanism to remember isn't the best to use on a mic. Maybe wow. That is a very eloquent explanation.
I thought you were going to throw me under the bus and be like, no, I don't think it's that you forget their names. It's just that you mix them up. I thought that's where you were going.
Himself. Like, you don't want to do shit like that. Or Mr. Cutlass himself.
Also on UFC 291, because most of these fights are interesting enough to mention. Tony Ferguson versus Bobby Green. They're sending him out there again. This is I feel like if Tony Ferguson was on his third loss, this would be a solid one. But
I say that just because, like, as I was going through Twitter, sorry to cut you off, but someone made that cut, that like edit of, you know how he does that, like that slide, that wrestling slide in his name, and then I was literally just watching the way he like can't do it anymore when they're doing his
saddest
it's
video,
like, no, that's like watching a dog with a bad hip.
No.
Like, you know when like your grandma's dog like shows up with the hitch and her get along, and you're just like, oh no, Pebbles, what the hell? Yeah, you're just like, shit. And like there's those fucking tumors in its eyes, and you're just like, dude, oh no.
And there's also it's very similar to that one too. There's also the supercut that someone put together of Cain Velasquez, like doing his like squats and jumps in pre-fight. And that was also like,
that was a rough one too.
Yeah, that's a tough one to see. And in that one too, like we have like video evidence of what they were doing very, very wrong with him. They were having him do like these, I don't even know what the fucking exercise is, but on the machine where you're like fucking pushing your feet out, you're like kicking your feet out like over and over and over with really heavy weight. Like, dude, it's so
you're talking about the leg press machine?
Yeah, but not the one where you're like on your back. It's the one where he's like sitting upright.
Okay, and then he's like picking his legs up.
Yeah. And there's like some super roided out guy who's like counting his reps and he's like doing a ton of weight like really, really fast. I don't really know. I'm not a fucking gym rat or anything, but I remember when that video dropped, everyone was like, "Oh, that's how they ruined his knees." Is it?
Okay, it's like the quad extensions. I know what you're talking about, and those can actually like strengthen your knee though. It's a weird thing with lighter weight and like a more contracted, like a up and then slowly down, up fast and then slowly down. That's actually physical therapy I've had knee surgery and like they did that, but very lightweight. And then the physical therapist would hold it and like contract but it's basically like isolating the tendon to like strengthen the tendon around and all the muscles around the knee, so that it's just not all on what you just had surgery on. We're like, they were straight fucking Dorian Yatesing it, dude, like all fucking blood and guts, like a Jay Cutler video or something.
They had like 3 plates on there, and they were like, all right, 30 seconds, as many as we can, and just go.
Dude, that's just straight kneecapping the dude,
bro. And then the last one, Chiesa versus Kevin Holland. So a pretty stacked UFC 291 pay-per-view. I'm interested to see what the undercard's going to look like. I don't like that it's in Salt Lake City.
Yeah, I hated that Salt Lake City. That ended my boy's career, Ragmanov's career. That ended my boy's career, dude.
And if I'm looking at the card right now, I'm trying to think of like what fighters this impacts the most.
Poirier, because the only guy on that card was Usman, who really, I mean, besides getting knocked the fuck out at the end, he didn't seem too bothered by the elevation. Who's his main training partner? Justin Gaethje. Where do they train? It's literally called Team Elevation.
Yeah. I think Paulo Costa's probably going to be sucking some wind in that one too.
Yeah, old boy's going to be rocking that freaking that thing I wear so I don't snore down my wife's face. That breathe right strip or whatever.
All right, let's transition over to this Francis Ngannou PFL signing news. This morning we all woke up to news from all of the MMA Instagram pages and the Twitter pages and stuff. This was the talk of the town. Francis Ngannou announces an exclusive MMA contract with the Professional Fighters League and aims to have his first fight with him in 2024. Some of the more specific details include, I thought it's a specific detail, but interesting that it's an or.
It was a word salad. What they gave to him was basically word salad. Just like, dude, look at how progressive and amazing this is. It's a 2-fight deal, boys. Basically, that's what we're looking at.
Yeah, that's the first thing I was going to get to. It's only for 2 or 3 fights. So it's like,
and the or is like very telling, like or, and it's like, oh, but he's going to get a portion of the pay-per-view buys. Like, you talking about the highest pay-per-views you guys ever did was $40,000 grand? Like, is that what we're saying here, boys? Like, what the fuck?
Well, we'll see. Let's see how Francis Ngannou and maybe Jake Paul will bolster their numbers.
And they're basically saying like, oh, he's gonna fight, win 2024 against who? That's the cool part. He's not even on the roster yet. It's like, oh shit, okay.
See, that's the toughest look for me, and I think that's the toughest look for a lot of fans. Overall, because for me, I mean, I'm very interested in looking at this and like, oh, how does this set a precedent? Are other fighters going to be looking to follow suit and being like, oh well, Francis Ngannou did end up working himself into a solid deal. But the thing is, if you're looking at this in terms of like, where is Francis going to go where he's going to have people to fight, PFL is like the worst option. There ain't nobody for him to fight in PFL,
because they're basically saying, I'm super excited for Francis just to know, because as stupid as this is going to sound, as like between us on the podcast, I'm the biggest hater of anyone between the both of us. But I was my first reaction was, I'm so glad he got some fucking money out of this. Because the boxing thing's just not going to work. Because it looks like Wilder might even fight Usyk now. So it's just like, dude, that shit is gonzo, dude. Yeah. Fury's not talking to you, dude. Sorry. Maybe Wilder would have did it, but I guess Usyk's guy, the guy he's supposed to fight, is like under the gun. Like, you either take the fight or you don't, or we're going to Wilder. And Wilder's like, I'll do it. So there's just no one. And I guess
the boxing world definitely honey-dicked Francis Ngannou. That's all I was going to say, but go on.
Yeah. But, and then he's saying, well, I'm going to take a boxing tune-up and then go to MMA. And it's like, well.
Don't do that.
Okay. Yeah, don't do that, dude.
Don't do that. Because you're going to get knocked out even by just some guy in boxing. Well, maybe not knocked out, but you're going to lose badly.
But I guarantee you this deal was always there for him. This deal was there for him the second he left UFC. I guarantee you. And why go through one? Why go through all of this other? Why go through boxing just to get the deal you were going to get anyway?
That's an interesting thought about like that. It was probably always there for him. Because I wonder how long it took them to work out the other, like the kind of intangibles, like being chairman of UFC Africa and being on a fighter ambassador and stuff like that. Like I
Word
can see
salad.
them
That's all
throwing
word
out the
salad
numbers.
wokeisms, dude.
I believe that they're just appeasing him. Like I do think that these are just like ceremonial titles, and they probably figure like, okay, Francis, we know you want those things, you have them, and now let's see you not ever do them. Let's see you just show up and make appearances and be like, yes, I am.
Have you ever seen? I don't know if it was on Netflix, but there was it was like, I think it was Cameroonian dudes. They had like it was basically like Ultimate Fighter for Africa, but it was so crazy. You have to watch it. Like some of the stuff, I'm not gonna get. Oh damn it! I'm so xenophobic. I'm not gonna get super crazy, but like some of the like challenges and stuff, and like the transitions and like the like following him back home and stuff, like the special interest pieces they did, like they kind of did on the Ultimate Fighter, were just gold. Like everybody, please watch them, dude. Because like one of them was like in a call center. They're like, "Oh, my day job's at a call center." Like, what are you doing over there? Like, what is it that you're doing there, dude?
Calling people.
I send 8,500 emails a day. And it's like, oh. Wow.
You think they have sad backstories for the fighters in the Ultimate Fighter in America? Yeah. Everybody's got a tough story in Senegal.
Yeah, so. For sure, dude. You know what I'm talking about, though?
No, I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah.
But
anywho,
pivot for Francis. So to list off some of the other details, he's guaranteed a high 7-figure purse for each fight. So all we know is it's $1 million or over, which it's fine. I think if he's anywhere in the millions per fight, he's doing well. Maybe not as much as he was going to get over with the UFC.
Maybe not 8 million.
Maybe not 8 million.
John Jones. Yeah. But okay.
But
and then Mike made such a good point too. Is like he didn't say shit until he's like signed somewhere else where he's not. Why is John Jones going to go to the PFL? Like, why would John Jones even mention this? Why would John Jones put those 3 letters together at any point? PFL, why would he even say that? Listen. And then you're like, everybody knows I'm the real motherfucker. It's like, oh, are you, dude?
Listen, man, you're not wrong. You're right. Mike was right.
But
don't give Mike too much. You don't want Mike's head to grow, dude. He'll start referring to himself in the third person. No.
Dude, he's on a podcast that, I mean, I'm followed by Marcin Praccio.
I'm followed by Mandy Baum.
You're followed, yeah. And we got a fucking retweet from Fabiano Buschi.
So I mean, and he just walked into this podcast network. It was just yeah. So dude, I'm sure his head's growing enough already. Yeah. We don't want to. Yeah, we don't want to make him go fucking thermonuclear. I'm just kidding though. What did you say that he said about Francis Ngannou? I'm sorry. Immediately, as soon as he said Mike made a good point.
But it was another point was made too.
About John Jones. Yeah.
And John Jones is like, oh, you're saying you're the toughest guy from across the street. And then Francis Ngannou, cross the street then. And it's like, dude, just stop, dude. Just stop.
Okay, it's as nonsensical as it gets. But in terms of timing, how succinct of a message it was, and all of that, I think Francis Ngannou wins that exchange.
How?
Just like I said, the timing, the direct message, the words correlated exactly to the words that John was using. How are you going to say that from across the street? Across the street, then. I'm not saying it's the right thing to say. I'm not saying it makes any sense. I'm not saying anybody should expect John to go to the PFL. Stipe. It's really
Stipe, don't lie. Remember he was saying that Stipe, don't lie.
But if we're just talking words, I think Francis Ngannou kind of got the better, and probably it's because he got the last word that it also makes it seem like he got. Because if you're John, what are you gonna say? Are you gonna do type out this long paragraph being like, well, I fight for the UFC. Why the fuck would I go to the? Because then it's just gonna be like, yeah, dude, he trolled you. You bit.
Again, you're on. I see. I see what you're saying. It's just like, to me, it's like, please, please, friend. You don't even have. You're not fighting for another year.
I think Francis,
the guy that would fight him now, got starched by Yuri Prohaska in the first round. Like the main heavyweight over at PFL is like 6'2", 210. It's like, oh, great, dude. Enjoy, dude.
I think if if Francis wants to keep going, like
he's gonna fight Smiling Sam Alvey. Let's just call it what it is. Alvey's not gonna have to cut weight, and he's gonna go there.
He's probably, and he already fought Overeem. He already fucking knocked Overeem the fuck out. If he wants to keep going tit for tat with John, like if they're gonna keep throwing barbs at each other online, even though they can never fight, I think he needs to wait till after this Stipe fight, see how that plays out, and I think it's going to be kind of interesting because John comes back.
Yeah,
he handles Cyril Gane, and then we're both picking him to beat Stipe. That's going to be pretty easy work, I'd imagine. But let's suppose he goes to decision with Stipe.
Okay. I would actually say he goes to decision. I think Stipe's clinch work is good enough. To like, because John's not going to piece Stipe up.
I don't know what to expect from Stipe now, but aside from that though, I do agree. I think he's good enough to not just completely get ran through. Then a lot of people are going to be real quick to be like, yeah, John Jones is the GOAT. He's the real heavyweight GOAT. But he's going to come back and get that title off of beating the last two guys that Francis Ngannou beat. It's not, but he wanted to. I guarantee you, if you put John Jones and you hooked him up to a lie detector test, which I'm sure he has been before, if you hooked Francis up and you go, would you want to fight John Jones? Would you want to fight Francis? I guarantee you, John passes the test, dude. I guarantee you. And then Francis, remember the dude that did the Howard Stern ones? Remember he was being deceiving there. Remember the guy who had that weird voice that did the Howard Stern? I guarantee you Francis would be a little bit deceiving in his words. I mean, they can't get too granular with those depending on what questions they ask. I think you're on the right track. I don't disagree. Because you know what the point I'm trying to make. No, absolutely. I think it's unquestionable that John Jones would fight Francis. I think ultimately it would. I'm just kind of wondering if there'd be some qualifier, because Francis is definitely going to say, for what amount of money? You know? Right. Yeah, I didn't say no. Yeah. Yes. And when it comes down to a lie detector test where they're just looking for a yes or no answer, that's going to make the needle. Yeah, absolutely. So I agree. You're right. I mean, John's certainly going to ask, what's John's the money just crazy, on it too. Dude. But I think, but he knows better than to think that the middle of a polygraph test is the time to negotiate. Yeah. So John's gonna say yes, because, and then that's the thing. That's exactly what I tried to say. He's been hooked up to one, so he'll know how to answer. And when to answer. You're right. You did. Yeah. You added the qualifier. You made that shit airtight. Yeah. Airtight. Okay. Let me see. Was there some other deets that I missed? Because there's a lot about this PFL contract. He has the right to have his own sponsors in the cage. I'm very curious to see what he's going to land or who's going to work with him. A signing bonus or salary to serve as brand ambassador for PFL, like we both said, that's just they appeasing him. That's probably going to end up pretty much everybody that fights for PFL is a brand ambassador, right? Correct. You're right. Like they're going to use every. Oh, that's fucked up. That's like calling a Subway like a sandwich artist. It's like, oh, thank you. I am, in fact. Yeah. Like I'm a broadcaster. That's like me when someone asks me what you do. I'm actually a broadcaster, and I'm on a platform that has PBS is literally on the platform. We do, if you've heard of them. Sports NPR, media coverage. Yeah. Okay, he has non-exclusive. His contract is non-exclusive with regards to boxing. So it sounds like any boxing that he can line up for himself, the PFL has no say in it whatsoever, and he can just do it. And going back to what you said, or that you said that people are saying he should just get a tune-up fight. No, he should not, because he needs to get whatever bag he's going to get from the PFL first, I feel like, before he decides. Because if he goes to box, it needs to be Okay, no, I'll take back what I said about him needing to fight for the PFL first. If he's gonna box first, it needs to be a fight where he's boxing for life-changing money, where he never really has to do anything ever again. Get that settled, because you're potentially gonna get starched, and nobody's gonna care about you, and even the PFL is gonna be like, "Dang, we spent a lot of money on that. Like, come fight for us before you get laid out in a boxing ring, dude, please."
I guarantee you that was the thing that one FC was just like, sorry. Like that's not gonna happen. You can box someone like within our roster that we choose, but you're not gonna go fucking box a fucking, because there's a lot of guys in
Ryzen though. They're literally bringing Floyd Mayweather in to just murk their little fucking their fighters.
But I'm saying,
weird
like,
exhibition matches going.
After you get the top 4, like the guys he really wants to fight, then you get like the cans where everyone knows there's a can, and then there's a lot of guys like there's a lot of like Eastern European, Kazakhstani, Olympic amateur wrestlers that are just hungry as fuck, that just want to fight on television, dude.
Yeah,
and it's like those guys are not. Those guys are like, as we're speaking, dude. Just like it sounds like a gunshot's going off in a dank Kazakh gymnasium right now, dude. And those guys will fucking kill somebody.
Yeah, and they could find a guy like that for sure. Like exactly what you're saying. Like
there's the homie from Tulare. He's a silver medalist, right? Isn't he from Tulare or like one of the boys that he won the silver in China, I think.
Let's just say there's definitely another Magomed Ankalaev out there. And that's a light heavyweight. I specifically, knowing he's a light heavyweight, because the PFL could find a Magomed Ankalaev and be like, "Hey, put on 30 pounds. You want a big payday?"
That's what I'm saying.
And here's a secret bonus for you to not strike. There's a secret bonus for you to just fucking spam takedowns.
Exactly.
But I mean, I guess that's going to be helpful because he has there's no champions clause or other extensions. So I think that means if he could fight 2 times, and it's already time to renegotiate potentially.
It sounds like it's also like a, hey, thanks for coming out, friend. Don't know what we're trying to do here. Hopefully we can keep our business going after this. Because this could definitely be like that Tiger King, like, I'm never gonna financially. Like you could totally see, like the guy that runs PFO is like, I'm never gonna financially come back from this.
And if we know how Jake Paul operates, which we do, well, I've been watching a lot of CoffeeZilla videos recently. So,
dude, the suspenders. I don't
time.
usually like suspenders, but I love them on old boy, dude. Yeah. CoffeeZilla's dope.
Yeah. I'm not even going to get into it, but the amount of scams, man. But for that reason, I'm pretty confident that Jake Paul's going to find a way that no matter how this goes, he's going to ride into the sunset with a bag full of cash. So that kind of puts a little bit of pressure on the PFL, I feel like, because they have to build this whole super fight division that's going to be for pay-per-view only. Like you said, what are we really charging for PFL? Like compared to what they've charged people before. What kind of assets do you have to build a card around? Francis Ngannou versus a body, Kayla Harrison versus a body, Olivia Aubin Mercier versus a body. You know what I mean? There's not too many compelling matchups. You have names, but it doesn't really. Who do you put against, or who do you put up in there with to make, like, what are you gonna bring Thiago Santos up to heavyweight to fight? And then Jake Paul, I guess. What is he doing? Is Jake Paul gonna box for PFL? He'll always make more money boxing for himself. So why is he gonna go over here and box for PFL where he has to give half of that away?
Slice another part off.
Yeah. So like, what are they gonna have Jake Paul on commentary? Like, they have a big task ahead of them, figuring out how to build a pay-per-view to build that super fight division that is going to.
Because the hard work's done for Francis, really.
Yeah.
Train. Fucking train, get ready, don't embarrass yourself, and just show up. Now fucking PFL's like it's like okay, so like stupid boomer quote, but it's like or what was on The Simpsons, like a fucking donkey with a spin wheel, like damned if he knows what he's gonna do with it, or damned if he knows how he got it, like how anyone knows he got it, but like now he's got a fucking, you got, like, if the dog catches the car, so like the dog caught the car, like what's the dog gonna do with it now?
Yeah, Francis is in position to just sit back and be like, okay, now I just go through the motions, and you, PFL, you potentially make a lot of money or lose money. It doesn't matter to me. I got it in writing. I'm gonna be made whole. And then the last thing, or the last detail before we move on from this, because we've talked about this for a bit now, and we're gonna give him props for this. A minimum salary for his opponents.
That's cool.
Aiming for a minimum of $1 million for his opponents, so they're not.
But I think in the UFC, all the guys at this point, we're gonna get that anyway. Maybe 700K grand. I'm just gonna start saying K grand. You know who says that, right?
No. Oh wait. Let me guess. Shab.
His wife.
Oh.
So like his wife, wherever I was telling you, his wife's like in dire straits, selling like her old shoes and shit. She's like selling this bag, 5K grand. So like now on fucking Fighter and the Kid sub, it's like everyone says, can this get 5K grand likes, or like 10K grand karma?
I saw this post earlier that said that the fighter payouts were released for the Charlotte card.
Yes.
I didn't realize North Carolina was one of the states where they
Biggie boy
had to put it out.
Got more than Jaltin.
How much did they make? Because I think Jaltin was like 120 or something, or before the fight of the night bonus, or the finish of the night bonus. Or performance bonus,
so I think altogether he probably walked out with like 150, 75 after taxes, I'm sure.
I have to imagine that our old boy, dude, I'm forgetting people's names too much. No, the British heavyweight kid who got injured against Aspinall.
Dude, you're the Tom Aspinall guy.
He hasn't been at the tip of my tongue for too long now.
Oh, pause. Okay, pause.
I have to imagine he's probably making, what do you think, somewhere in the neighborhood of 250K to 300K a fight right now?
I would hope.
I mean, I think he should be making more. I think he has a talent for it, but he doesn't really have that, like, that marquee victory yet, or like that big name on his resume. Because I'm thinking about what you said, like whatever guy was going to be fighting Francis was going to be making that anyways in the UFC. Certainly true for Stipe, definitely true for John Jones. After that,
Sergey would make $1 million. You're telling me Sergey versus Francis wouldn't be $1 million? I'm sure Cyril got around $1 million when he fought Francis.
I mean, I don't know enough about like how much they're willing to renegotiate with guys, because I hear people say that a lot, like, oh, if he gets that title shot against he's going to be making more money. But if he's not the guy if he's not the guy with the belts, I mean, he's going to be making what he's been making.
I will concede. I was trying to be a hater, but I can't. I will concede that's a pretty cool thing Francis did, especially in the PFL. That's very cool.
Oh, and I mean, I wasn't even talking about it so much to like be like, hey, fuck, thanks, Francis. Like, I don't care. I'm not going to be fighting Francis. I was more fixated on like what they're, the other heavyweights in the UFC are making right now. Because I think that was an interesting point that you mentioned about like, the guys who should be fighting him should have been making that anyways, so I think, and it just reminds me that I wish that we got to see the disclosed fighter pay everywhere, man. I love when we get to see it.
Yes.
Yeah, it's always interesting to me. I know most people probably don't give a shit, and this isn't me. Like, I'm not gonna try and go on a tirade right now about fighter pay either. But it's just, I don't know, maybe because we don't see it as much anymore, and that's what I always like about when they come to fight in California too, because they have to disclose the fighter pay there. And it's always interesting, like, wow, that person's only making that much, or holy fuck, when did that person start making that much? Like, yeah. It would at least give us more shit to talk about on this podcast.
For sure, dude. 100%.
All right. Speaking of Jailton and Jairzinho Rozenstruik, we actually haven't done our recap of Fight Night Charlotte.
I cleaned up on this one.
4.
I picked a lot of. I took Gary. I took Olberg. I took Johnny Walker. I took Almeida. And I think those are the only picks I made. Not bad.
We only on the show we only predicted the Jailton fight versus Jairzinho, right?
No, we talked about Ian Gary too.
Did we? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
We did.
and Johnny Walker. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I don't really remember talking about them very much, but
yeah,
I didn't.
Mashed potato brains. Dude. I guarantee you. Let's see. Let's pull this up here real quick, though. I'm sure you had a lot to say about Mandy Bone, though.
No, we didn't talk about the Mandy Bone fight.
No, but I'm saying, like, if I go, hey, where was Mandy Bone? Where was she born? Well, Brandon.
Germany.
Dang, see what I'm saying? You already forgot Carla Zolberg was on the card.
Man, I know she's from Germany. I haven't even watched that fight. I know what the result was.
That was a weird fight, right?
Yeah, we're definitely gonna, yeah. There was 2 points deducted, and she's still.
I'm stepping on toes here, boys. Not my.
You know what? You're right, dude.
Stepping on toes here.
You're encroaching. Me and Mike are definitely going to talk about that tomorrow, but I need to locate and actually watch the fight. By the sound of it, what am I now? I'm talking about it. Okay, Jailton, Almeida, Jairzinho, Rozenstruik. Jailton jiu-jitsu's him like everybody would expect.
Front kick, double leg, front kick to double leg, and there he goes.
Gets the takedown while he's like on his knees still. Like Jairzinho's actually like kind of like dragging him a foot or two while he's like on his knees, just kind of like going with him. And yeah, he just takes his time, slices through Jairzinho's guard, gets to the side, transitions to full mount, bump, 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 couple hammer fists that gets Jairzinho to turn, give his back, and it's over.
Yeah. So funny.
Yeah, man, Jairzinho, did he land a... Because I don't think we mentioned this stat in our breakdown episode, but Jailton Almeida has only absorbed like 9 strikes. Well, had only absorbed... He's
in like Hamzat territory. Like, yeah. Hamzat. Like, he's like mythical Hamzat Yas Island territory right now, dude.
Yes. Yeah, in 5 fights in the UFC, which I think... 4 of them were actually in the UFC proper. 1 was a Contender Series fight.
Correct.
But in those 5 performances, he had only absorbed like 9 9 punches total. And I believe Jairzinho threw 1, and it's not clear to me if it landed, but I think I saw some stats saying that Jairzinho landed 2 punches, 2 strikes. Yeah. So if that's correct, then Jailton in 6 performances under the Zuffa banner, not the Zuffa banner, but
it's so crazy. Like, sometimes I don't think of myself as like a hardcore fan, and then the fact that like I am mad that people don't realize what Almeida is doing is like, dude, this is only his 6th fight. He goes between weight classes, and he just beat Rozenstruik's been in there. Mm-hmm. He's definitely not the guy he was maybe when he fought Overeem, or he's not, that anymore, but he just did that on ABC. Like, he fucking headlined UFC on a fucking major network. Like, and no one cares. It's like, dude, this guy is sick. It's like, even Mike has like, I'm not aware of this guy, and I was just like, what? I was just like, what? Whoa, this guy is so cool. Yeah, and like they said, they were talking about it, like he just didn't even want to do. He's like, okay, I'll train. If you guys want me to, sure. It kind of sounds like Jose Aldo's story, right? Like, he was like a soccer player, and
I think one of the best base for MMA is to be a solid athlete in something else and not even know what MMA is till like later in life, and somebody tells you and you're like, oh cool, I'll try it out. Like, that's the best. Like, if you started out, if your dad's hella into MMA and puts you in BJJ and wrestling from like 5 years old or whatever, you're potentially gonna suck.
Like, my son's gonna fucking suck, dude. It's a good dream. What is that? That movie with fucking Matt Damon? Remember, his kid's like, why don't you like it? He's like, that's your dream, Dad. It's a good fucking dream. He's like, all pissed off. I'll send it to you.
I've seen the clip. I don't know if I've seen the movie. Jailton just kind of like reminding us that he's more than a dark horse in this division at this point. What I wanted to say about him that I really like is of course, there's the language barrier. He doesn't speak even broken English.
Well, good friend of the show helps him with that.
Exactly. And I was going to get to that too. But what I recognize, and this might not matter to most people, is yes, he's a Portuguese or Brazilian speaker or whatever, but you can tell he has a lot to say. Like, there's plenty of guys who speak Brazilian, so it's like, all right, one check against them. Like, okay, you're gonna have a little bit of a tougher time promoting yourself, but they're also not putting any effort in, probably because they know, like, okay, they don't give a shit about me because I don't speak English, so I'm just, man a few words or whatever. No, like Jailton, promotionally, like, seems like he can pull his own weight promotionally, and I like that he had a name. They asked him, who do you want to fight? And he said, give me another big heavy hitter. I want to fight a guy like Taito Ivasa. And I think that's the perfect, like, yeah, that's a tailor-made fight for him. He should be able to take Taito Ivasa down and do his work. But I think that a call-out like that is pretty much him saying, like, dude, I'm here. Like, start putting me in there with these guys that are going to put me into contention. Fighters people know, fighters that people are excited to watch. Put eyes on me. Let me cut through
just
these
not
guys.
Spivak.
Just not Spivak.
Anybody but Spivak.
But I mean, Ty, that's a smart one. Like,
that was a good call.
Pavlovich is the guy who most
the fact that he
got
went
over
there with a name. The fact that he went there with a name. Is
Jairzinho Rozenstruik, though, man.
He was looking. There's a point he was staring at. He was staring at his corner, and they're like, "No, your hand like this," and he's like this, and like he's like putting his hand up next to his ear, and then like no, and then there was a spot. I'm gonna have to see if I can find it, but Almeida was kind of like looking at him, like, "Are you really staring over there for help? Like, how did you get here, dude?"
Yeah, no, how did you get here? It's one of those deals where, and it's more of an indictment on the heavyweight division, and there's not enough guys like Jailton who can do this. And I mean, hey, I said this within the past 2 episodes, I think, when I was kind of talking about how Sergey Pavlovich is kind of like a transplant from the past. I'm fine with my heavyweight division being that, but when you see examples of it like this with Jairzinho, and I'm with you too, like going into this fight, before I saw him walk into the cage, I was thinking, okay, there's some inherent risk here. Like Jairzinho, he takes a round off. He's a slow starter. He doesn't throw a ton of volume, but we know he has the power, and we know that he has the stand-up skills. He may be a little bit too patient or whatever, but then I see that he weighed in at 265, which means now this man's cutting to heavyweight. When I know he's been a smaller heavyweight before, so that immediately tells me, like, ooh, like how much is he trying now? I mean, I guess he's trying. Maybe he's having to cut down to heavyweight.
I think if you knew you're going up against a guy who's going to have to try to even be over like 230, like I bet you. So he's like, I'm going to weigh as much as I fucking can. He's going to have to carry all 265 of this.
That's a good point. I guess my mind immediately was like, oh, is Jairzinho not really trying anymore? So yeah, I could see that both ways for sure, because if I can't really compete with this guy in the skill department, let's hope that one of these takedowns doesn't work out for him and I fall on top of him, and we'll see what we can do with that. So big things for Jailton on the horizon. Maybe we'll see what these matchmaking looks like.
The Fight Plug like year-end award, like eye test award winner, right? If I'm not mistaken, or mine, right? Wasn't he?
I could pull it up. Oh
shit! Yeah,
I was just looking at these the other day, actually.
Oh yeah, we should do like a revisit. Like, where are we now? Because I'm sure my Sergey Pavlovich. Here we are in fucking the summer.
Okay, so fight of the year, breakout male fighter of the year. We gave that one to Alex Pereira. Give that to Powhatan, but Jailton, Jailton was a nominee. Let's see.
I brought it up because I wanted to ball wash myself.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? Like, this is self-serving here.
Let's see, what were the predictions? Okay, I'm looking at our predictions for. Oh, these were for the previous year. My bad.
Yeah.
Okay, do you want to hear our 2023, or I guess it would be beginning of 2024 predictions?
Sure.
So these were basically us deciding, like, picking who we think is going to be the champ by the end of the year or the beginning of next year. For heavyweight, you said Pavlovich. We all know you said Pavlovich. We've talked
Absolutely.
about this
I say it every. I'm going to say it every fucking podcast until I get kicked off.
Did not age well. Did not age well at all.
Sure didn't.
Do you know what it was? Do you remember?
It was Cyril Gahn, right?
No.
No?
No.
No. Even that would have been good, huh? Who was it?
It was Curtis Blades, dude.
Dude, get the tat, dude. Get the fucking tat.
Oh, that hurts so bad. Light heavyweight. We both picked Pereira. Middleweight, you said Whitaker, and I said Khamzat.
It's going to be Whitaker.
Could be.
Fucking book it right now.
Welterweight, you said Shavkat, and I said Usman. So far, we're both wrong there, but I mean,
suck it.
We're only halfway through the year.
Shavkat's gonna be the champ, dude.
For lightweight, we both stuck with Islam.
Yeah.
For featherweight, we both stuck with Volk.
Yes.
For bantamweight, you said Cheeto, and I said Cejudo. I didn't even remember I said
Cejudo. Whoa, man. You're very sneaky.
Sneaky snake.
Yeah.
For flyweight, you said Brandon. Well, Brandon Moreno.
Yes.
You're right now. If he beats Pantoja, I said Pantoja. So
I love Pantoja though.
I like that you actually reminded me of this, because this is something that we can go back for when these guys fight and be like, mention that our prediction for women's.
When we did this though, Cheeto was like that motherfucker, like, because there wasn't a lot of fights at that time. Remember? Because like a lot of guys don't like to fight during the holidays, and like Cheeto was just fucking not kicking the shit out of everybody at that time. He's like, I fucking fight, motherfucker. I don't give a fuck. He was just fighting everybody.
So am I right in guessing that you forgot that you picked Cheeto, and you're kind of trying to work it out in your head right now?
Yeah. I'm like trying to like, well, yeah, I'm backtracking, dude. I'm backpedaling, dude. I'm Deion Sanders right now, dude. Straight up. First team all corner, dude. Just backpedaling.
But I mean, hey, you
can still win.
It's been 6 months or something like that. 5 months.
He was on the track to it, but he just couldn't fucking Sandhagen.
Yeah. And then everything else was the same. Nunes, Shevchenko, Zhang. So, cool. Yeah, we revisited that. Getting back to this fight night card, the Johnny Walker Anthony Smith fight, we touched on it a little bit already. We mentioned some of Anthony Smith's, like, what did you call it? Like PTSD. That was pretty concerning when it happened. I was really kind of thrown off by that.
Yeah.
But let's talk about Johnny Walker though, because
that's great, man. I love Johnny Walker.
Yeah, I don't really remember who I picked. I think I picked Anthony Smith. Yeah, I picked Anthony Smith because I thought his experience was going to get him there, and I just mostly thought that by how hittable Johnny Walker is, as exciting as he is, the dude is an absolute dynamo and really fun to watch. But man, he's just been knocked out in so many wacky, silly ways.
The Jamal Hill one was wild.
Yeah. And if nothing else, like, Anthony Smith can still chuck him. I kind of underrate like his style sometimes, and I think because his personality is kind of boring to me. Like, he's not setting the world on fire on the microphone, and I'm certainly not.
It's crazy
right now either,
it's crazy because like he really wants to. He's like trying so hard to,
and that's what he's not like. So great at. But when I actually watch Anthony Smith fight, I am reminded that it's like, okay, I've seen him get smashed by some people before, but when he's kind of like in a more like evenly matched fight, he's good. Like, he's not a horrible fighter or anything like that.
No, absolutely not. Yeah,
and
he's Lionheart.
Yeah, he's Lionheart.
This is the first time he hasn't fought in a main event, right? In like 6 years or some shit.
And a lot of people were saying, the internet were saying that this should have been the main event. And I mean, I guess considering how,
if you reshuffle it now,
Yeah,
maybe
with the benefit of hindsight, for sure, because how short the Almeida Rozenstruik fight ended up being, and how not even short, because I mean you can have a short main event, and if it's just fireworks,
still sick as hell.
Yeah, but this was just, that was too surgical. This ended up being a little bit better, and like we talked about, Johnny Walker being a little bit more patient, but also still having his chaos. I think it was a good showing, and I guess in the light heavyweight division, without having the rankings up in front of me, like I guess I want to ask, like, what do you see next for Johnny Walker?
I definitely thought he was gonna fight the Jan Blachowicz. Hit me out of nowhere just because I thought him and Ankalaev were gonna fight. So maybe he fights Ankalaev. I think he probably does, just because the UFC just doesn't like Ankalaev right now. I think they're very upset with him. Mm-hmm. I think they were setting him up to be that guy that fights Prohaska.
Yeah.
I think in their head, Maynard and Shelby and Dana really thought, we're like looking at that poster of Ankalaev and Yuri when Yuri comes back, and having that be like the lead in when football season starts. That's going to be the big fight, and now it's just not going to be that. And Ankalaev just looks kind of janky or doing it. You know what I mean? I thought it was a good fight.
Yeah,
but it was just, obviously they were upset. You can tell they were very upset, and like booking Ankalaev or Jan against, that's a huge fight for Blachowicz as far as like what they think of him. The fact that he could definitely win that fight. Ankalaev would have beat the shit out of, and not because he's a better striker, but because he's a decent striker that can stay at range with Poatan, but also just take him down and do whatever he wants to him.
Yeah.
So it really shows like what they, and also they probably didn't want Pereira just to get wrestle fucked in his first like heavyweight fight. Mm. But it just shows you like, damn, dude, he really fumbled.
Yeah, and for Johnny, I opened up I have the rankings up in front of me right now, and I guess Magomed's the only guy. There's no turntable. There's no.
He's fought a lot of guys already. Yeah. Walker has. He's fought so many guys. He's not going to get Yuri. He's not. Rakic maybe.
That's who else I was going to mention, but I don't believe there's any timetable for his return right now. He's still out from his leg injury. It's been a little while, but those things take time. He already has a win over Nikita Krylov, who's the guy right above him in the division. So I don't know, maybe they make him fight him again, but if we're talking upward momentum, that it's going to be a little bit of a tough one to get a fight. I think we might end up seeing Nikita Krylov fight Rakic when he comes back. One of those guys is going to end up without a fight and be on the shelf for a little bit, or they're going to have to fight Volkan Ozdemir or something.
I think, like you said, some of the goofy knockouts that Walk and like his injury, I think I just don't like that picture with Dana for scale today. People just don't realize it. He is literally like an NBA power forward,
massive,
and he's cutting 30. He starts his cuts at 248. That's crazy.
That's
dude.
Insane, dude.
That's insane, dude. And he's not fat. Mm-mm. He's not. He's like, I think he. And then I heard an interview where it was being translated, so I could be wrong, but he's like 12 to 11% body fat, like no natural, just walking around. That's really hard to cut from that. That's very hard to cut from that, because to get from 12 to 8 is crazy. From 12 to 6 is probably where he fights around, like 6% body fat. Dude, that is so hard to do when you're just naturally just jacked.
Yeah. I have the matchup for you for Johnny Walker. Johnny Walker might not want it because it's going backwards a little bit.
I'm going to put my pussy out. Blow my pussy off right now, please.
All right. Azamat.
Oh, buddy.
He doesn't have a dance partner right now.
That pussy, my clit's over here. That one flap's right there. Dude, you blew my pussy. My pussy looks like Kurt Cobain right now, dude. Thanks. That shit is gone.
Thanks, I'm glad.
Yeah.
All right, cool. That that's
such a good matchup, dude.
Confession time.
Sick fuck.
Because I don't know if I have anything else to talk about with that fight with Johnny Walker and Anthony Smith. Yeah. For the next fight,
did you not know Ian Gary was that good? Do you want to go ahead and apologize?
No, I knew Ian Gary was good. I wasn't
Machado. You have to say Ian Machado Gary.
I knew he was good. I will say I wasn't completely convinced yet that he's that guy.
I read today. He is who Paddy Pimblett thinks he is.
Oh yeah, I'll believe that. No, confession time though. Okay. I actually haven't gotten to see this fight yet. I was looking for it earlier today, and it is not on my.
Do yourself a favor.
Yeah, I saw the finish. I watched the highlight. I saw how it finished and how it went down. I'm seeing here that it was a first round, finish. So it was only 3 minutes of fight that I still need to watch. But yeah, I actually didn't get to watch this one, and it wasn't on my preferred website, my pirate website. So yeah, I'm gonna depend on you to kind of break this fight down.
If you can, so just to contextualize it for you and like the people at home, D-Rod had nothing. There's nothing, and he set. And not only was it wasn't a lucky kick. He was setting him up. He was I was extremely high watching this, and so whenever I'm like that, I'm almost like Ghost Dad. Like, remember Bill Cosby's Ghost Dad when it's like out of body experience, and you're like watching it. You remember Ghost Dad?
No,
right?
No, I don't. So I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Right? There's some shit that you will make a reference to where I have to stop and be like, is he fucking with me? Because I feel
Bill
like
Cosby's Ghost Dad.
I'm so the guy who's gettable that'll be like, oh, that's funny. He's like, oh, you like that? Yeah, because I made it up. I can be got by that kind of shit.
And I'm that guy that much of a sociopath that I can like play it off too. But no, there is a movie. It was like, I think it was I saw it on TV, but I don't know if it was like released, like a theatrical release. But like he was like a doctor, and he was like a super like a professional guy, like very high, like a CEO type almost. And then he was never around his kids, and then he died. So like he haunted his kids to like help them like go through their lives and stuff. And he even got really dark too. But anyway, but basically his whole thing was the out of body experience. He was like at the funeral watching, but like when I get super high, like that's how I am watching the fights. Like I'm like watching from the ceiling fan, like down at my cleavage, and then watching the fight. So like I was just like, dang.
All my memories of fights are from over my own shoulder.
yeah. And it's never the fight I want it to be. Like it's not like my, because like if I could have had this level of focus for any fight, it would have been the Almeida fight. But for whatever reason, watching this fight, because it's happened like with Volk and Islam, like I should have had that level of fucking focus on that fight to like see how these guys are setting each other up. But I was watching how Ian Gary was setting D-Rod up, who's a vet who's fought a lot of fucking people, and some really good guys, and Ian Gary was setting him up with these deeks for that kick. He was like, here you go. What are you going to do when I do this? Oh, okay. What are you going to do when I do that? Oh, fuck. And so like, he's like, okay, here he goes. And then you saw it in Ian Gary's head, like, here, okay, I set this shit up. Within a couple minutes, he like knew what he was going to do, and then fucking just baseball bat to the dome. It was all shit, dude. This guy is like, his mind, you can see he has a mind
turning.
Yeah, he has a mind for it, which a lot of guys are going out there and they're just kind of reciting what they've done in the gym, like 1, 3, 1, 2, 1, 1.
Yeah.
Back away, step to the left, don't circle to his dominant hand. I mean, they're just doing that. Yeah. Where this guy's kind of like, oh, what is he gonna, like, you see like a style bender do shit like that. You see a lot of guys do shit like that. Like Peter Yan does shit like that, So
it seems like there's more often a level in boxing that guys get to where you really get the sense that they're more in it mentally than like you give them credit for, especially when you see some slow-mo replays and stuff, and you see them like This probably has to do with how much faster they are, maybe. But you see them like watch a punch as it misses them, you know, and it's like, dude, oh, you're that in it. Where, you know, for me, I would just, the best I could hope for is that I moved and that it didn't hit me. But after that, I'm not tracking.
Stare at his chest, not his eyes. Stare at his chest, not his eyes. You're just like,
yeah, man. Yeah. And so, yeah, it does kind of stand out. I feel like when you really see that in MMA, I think that's,
and for whatever reason,
special.
The THC was just coursing through me at that time. And I was just like glued to my couch. And I'm like, man, this guy for sure was breathing like a pug. Like my wife was probably like in the hallway watching me, just like, why is he breathing like that? Like I wonder what I look like in that moment. It cannot be good looking at all, dude. I'm such a gross piece of shit. She must be like,
no, King, no.
Like, you can't dude, he's think breathing like a French bulldog watching two men with shirts.
You can't ever think of like the angle that your partner sees when they're servicing you or any of that. Don't go down that path, my friend. No.
And then like what my chair must have smelled like at that time. Yeah, when just like, jeez, dude.
When you see that, when you see or think about that, you got to be impressed with yourself.
Yeah.
You say, you know what? In spite of all of this.
See, that's how you see where my mind works. Because if it was reversed, I'd be like watching from like the kitchen or something, like, and this bitch goes and talks about that for an hour every week on a Zoom call. Okay. That's how I would be. Well, at least the memes are okay.
The memes are more than okay.
Yeah, so don't sweat. I guess he's not sweating that.
We don't have a video podcast anymore, but if the audience could see my face change when you're like, oh, the memes.
Brandon. Let's not say anything that we are gonna regret later.
All right.
Talking about how gross I look, how bad I smell, you're like, yeah, yes. The memes, Brandon, relax now. That's the line. That's the line.
Oh shit, that's too funny.
Yeah.
All right, let me go back to this card and see what we need to wrap up on, because we also need to glance at this this upcoming weekend's
Let's just talk about Michael Johnson. Get the fuck out of here. Huh? How about that? Our boy.
All right, let's do that. Let me go back to the main page of Tapology to find the card. There it is.
This was a decent card. I'm not good. Carlos Ulberg kicking the shit out of Eor Peteria. Thank you. And looking like $1 million doing it. Thank you. Our boy, the guy to watch, Carl Williams, and heavyweight. That guy, Matt Brown, sick as fuck. You called that one, big dog. I was fuck Court McGee for sure. But Matt Brown is just Matt Brown, Nick Diaz.
Shout out to Matt Brown doing it at 42. And having Mark Coleman in his corner, just so like I love what they kind of represent in a vacuum. It's like, oh, a couple of fucking dinosaurs showed up and did the
keeps his PTSD in there, because Anthony Smith is talking about weird shit PTSD. He could have been like, "Why'd you shoot Dimebag?" Like he could have, you know what I mean?
Yeah, dude. Oh man.
Maybe he does, and he like, you shot him, and like he goes after him.
Douglas Da Silva de Andrade versus Cody Stamann. That was a banger of a bantamweight fight or catchweight. They fought at a catchweight, but
Cody gets down. Cody is just like a chaos magnet, kind of.
Yeah, those two, their styles against each other too, just made for something special. And absolutely. One that was like as close as you can get by the numbers, because it was like Da Silva de Andrade had two solid rounds, the first and the second. They were competitive rounds, but you know, everyone, I thought he took them, but the first round was really close, and then Cody Stamann just had such a third round that you really went into it uncertain, where it's like, dude, it should be 2-1, but
UFC judges too, so it's just like, what the
fuck. Okay, now let's move over to Fight Night, Dern versus Hill, and see what we can do. What we can.
Not talking about Dern or Hill.
We're at an hour and 17 minutes.
Okay,
and I'd like to wrap it up by an hour and 25. And just breathe.
Let's just breathe.
Just breathe heavily.
Edmund Shabazian pulled a terrible matchup. That sucks for him.
And Fluffy Hernandez, underrated, man. I like him in this matchup.
Pressure wrestler, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the guy who upset let me pull up his record. Rodolfo Vieira.
Yep.
That was a crazy, like whoever scored that or picked that fight on Verdict. I remember they're like the number one guy in the world in points that cleaned up with that upset. That was so out of nowhere. But yeah, that's a solid one. Let's see.
Ilir Latifi, the guy like Homer Simpson meme. Remember when Homer like looks in the mirror and he thinks he's all jacked? When I look in the mirror, I think I'm Ilir Latifi.
There's a really good picture of Ilir Latifi just riding a horse shirtless.
He's badass, dude. No neck himself, Mr. Head and Shoulders.
Got the frame for a middleweight. Got the frame for a middleweight that can cut to welterweight if he really was disciplined. But I thought you were gonna
say a middleweight that could fuck a lot of guys' wives.
He can do that at heavyweight too.
You got to watch his fight from the cuck chair. I feel like he looks like one of those bulls you see on Reddit, like Hot Wives. I guarantee you, he's like on there wearing one of those Pooh Shiesty masks.
Artem Lobov energy.
Yes, very much. Yeah.
Andre Fialho versus Joaquin Buckley. The UFC wants a man to die in that cage.
These boys are getting crazy. And then Buckley's going down, right, in weight, or is he going up? He's moving weight classes. That's what
I don't know. Oh no, it's going to be at welterweight. So he's going down, right?
Yeah. I believe.
Yeah.
Anyway,
going down. They have him listed as a middleweight. Michael Johnson, Diego Ferreira. You already name dropped Michael Johnson. Dude's never in a boring fight ever.
Again today was pulling into. I was going to go get a drink today, and like I was like, I seen this dude walking out of the. All right, I saw a gentleman walking out of the bank. So similarly melanated to Michael Johnson, and I was like, whoa, like I would think that guy is a UFC fighter more than like Michael Johnson would be one of those like fuck around and find out type dudes.
Michael Johnson is the guy that you shouldn't have exchanged words with at the lake. And you just saw him having trouble setting up his tent. You think
you're just all badass. The coke's kind of going away. You're on your boy's jet ski. You fucking pull up all sick. Your fat girlfriend's right there like, yeah, babe. Yeah. And then Michael Johnson's like being cool like, oh, sorry, dude. Yeah, you are sorry. And then Michael Johnson turns around like, what?
And the next thing
maybe I've been in that situation. Maybe I haven't. Yeah, you guys at home.
The next thing you remember is you're waking up sideways and you've seen Michael Johnson looking for his shoes.
Yeah, dude, I got priors.
Let's see. How did I lose the page? All right.
He would be a cool ass friend to have, though, just because everyone's like, if I pull up with Michael Johnson, I'm like so much bigger than him. Then they're like, well, what's he gonna do?
Oh, for as far as like how the dynamic with us, absolutely, because we're so huge too. So there's always gonna be like that big contrast.
He just comes out of our shadow, and then he's just like, I got this one, guys.
I did want to say to close this off. Because we've joked about it plenty, but I don't think we've actually announced it, have we? Did I say it earlier? That me and Mike are starting the WMMA podcast? Yeah. Yes, I kind of mentioned it.
I'm excited for it. You guys are very good at breaking things down.
I'm stoked for it, too.
Like I said, I don't know if were we recording when I said it, but like no one could make someone with a 12, 16, and 5 record sound so entertaining.
Yeah, dude.
I'll say it again, dude.
We're gonna give it the old college try. But this is a great card to start it off with because it's all up and down the card.
You could write a book about Roxanne Modafferi. Like you could write it would be on Amazon. And you would write a good book about her.
No, I can't, dude.
Yes, you can.
No. Roxanne, I was thinking about that earlier today, because I watched this Kat Zingano documentary on YouTube.
What? They have one?
I'm not expecting you to watch the whole thing, but there's parts I'm going to send you that you need to watch. Yes.
Alpha Kat
Zingano. That is some of the heaviest shit I've seen all this year, I'll say.
Wasn't she like in a room and it was dark and she didn't know if she was standing up or laying down or something from like her head injury?
It delves a little bit into like some of her
she has like
CTE
some wild shit that happened to her too.
Which we can go down a rabbit hole with that too because there's stuff I learned about that.
Not my place.
No. It is your place.
No.
It was on.
I'm joking. No, I know.
It was when she was on Rogan, where she's talking about how like they have 30 days after every fight to declare their injuries to the UFC if they want that stuff to be covered by the UFC. But just naturally, because of the way business runs in the UFC, you're a young fighter. Maybe you're like 1 or 2 fights into your UFC contract or whatever. Something like you think. You have 30 days and you had a rough fight. You were tuned up a little bit. If you have a headache or an ongoing headache, at what point are you going to be like, okay, yeah, I'm going to undergo a possible extended medical suspension.
I was listening to this at the Dinuba Starbucks.
Oh, fuck.
To this very pod, dude. I remember this.
Oh, crap.
I remember being like, dang. Anyway. I was like, God damn, when is he gonna have fucking Ben on again?
When's Red? Shut the fuck up and give us more cocoa. Coke. Oh my god. But that's not even what I was gonna send you though. This shit. There's a way darker scene.
Like
from
assault type of shit.
Yeah. No. Excuse me. Not assault. No. She's reading. Okay, I'll just spoil it. She's reading her husband's suicide letter that he left her.
Have you seen that movie Love Liza?
No.
With Philip Seymour Hoffman?
No, I haven't seen.
Dude, watch it. His wife kills herself. Right? He doesn't know why. She leaves a letter, so he's like moving shit out, and like I don't know what it was that spilled, like gas or something spilled. Mm-hmm. And so he's like this super fucking, like he's not super, but he's pretty well off, right? He has a good job, everything. And like after his wife kills himself, she leaves him a note. He can't read it. As he's moving her stuff out, he's like starts huffing gas, or like he starts huffing like, and his life just goes to shit. And he's like squatting in this house, huffing gas. And then he starts like huffing like RC airplane gas. And then he finally, like, in this weird daze, his friend goes, just read the note. And then the note was like, dude, it wasn't your fault at all. And he's like, dude, oh my God. Dude, such a good movie. I like Philip Seymour Hoffman's a good actor.
He's really good, yeah.
And it's like a movie a lot of people don't know. And it's just like, dang, dude, that guy, like, because there's not any other people in that movie that would really, like, stand out. But, like, it's those, when someone's just acting and he just kind of, like, moves his eyes to the left and kind of looks off, and like he could have said a billion words, and he just did such a good job at that movie. Check that movie out.
I will.
I mean, I don't squeeze it in
between my WMMA documentary
and you're like Invicta iceberg fucking videos and shit.
Good callback. Great callback. I respect it. Yeah. Speaking of all of that, Mackenzie Dern versus Angela Hill. Four women's fights on this card, all under bantamweight. Only strawweights and flyweights.
Yeah, you guys picked a good card pick.
Emily Ducote, Lupi Godinez, Carolina Volkovich, Vanessa Demopoulos, Victoria Leonardo, Natalia Silva, dude. This is the one. This is probably the one, the earliest fight and the one I'm most stoked to see. Natalia Silva's looked fucking great in both of her for her debut MMA fight, UFC fights. So yeah, it's a fucking stacked one for WMMA. And Mike and I are going to record tomorrow our first episode of the Fight Plug WMMA, and we'll be dropping that probably like congruently, like maybe the next day after this episode comes out. Should be fun. It's gonna up our uploads per week, which I think should maybe do something for the algorithm. I don't know.
Cool. It's kind of, dude. You're gonna have to get on Adderall or something. I don't know.
Well, there's gonna be some weeks where
let's go to Mexico and let's just go grab some.
Unrelated, but okay. Yes, let's do that. But as far as like
Hong Kong, maybe I don't know.
You get that shit by mail.
Hong Kong's?
They're about the WMMA show. There's probably going to be some weeks where we just won't even do it because there's like one fight, and it's like there might not be enough news.
If there was a week where there wasn't enough shit, if someone had to pull up to make one, it would be you two.
Well, here's the thing, because I'm not going to start watching LFA or Invicta or Bellator to fill up content for it's still specifically going to be when that stuff is out there along with like UFC stuff, like, you know, maybe we'll work it in, I guess.
One championship, like we're talking about Stamp Fairtex, one championship has some, and they got 4-ounce female Muay Thai, which is crazy.
BKFC should just be 4-ounce boxing.
Yeah,
I honestly don't. I don't like, now that they've been doing it for a little bit and they picked up some momentum,
some speed. Yeah.
I wish that they hadn't really fucked with the formula that much.
Sure.
And just do it in a boxing ring. Literally, just do the boxing rules and have them wear 4-ounce gloves.
Queensberry or whatever the fuck it's called.
Yeah, I'm surprised that is anybody doing that. Is anybody doing 4-ounce boxing anywhere? That you know of, even just kind of heard of?
I'm sure they have, but I don't. Not that I know of off the top of my head. No. Just one with Muay Thai, which is such a cool fucking thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that about one for sure. And their willingness to do like crazy fights where first round is Muay Thai, second round's MMA, etc.
Yeah.
Shit's fun. Okay. A minute and 30 minutes. I mean, an hour and 30 minutes. Boy, oh boy. Bless this pen. That was a fun episode, man. That was a cool one. This would be the right
I'm
place.
I'm fighting for my life here, guys. I'm fucking pulling out all the stuff here. I'm like, I have material. I feel like Gil in The Simpsons. Like, I brought this wall from home. Like, you're on a thin thread, Gil.
All right, well, I will give you one opportunity to just throw a curveball and see. This would be like a challenge to see how long you could extend this episode.
Okay. Fuck. Everybody look at Nikola Jokic, who just beat the Lakers tonight he looks like me when I was a boy. So look up Nikola Jokic
I'm
child
looking him
photo.
up right now.
Yeah, Nikola Jokic, young Nikola Jokic.
Child photo?
Yeah. As a boy.
Okay.
There's a picture of me that looks exactly like that, dude. Haircut and everything. He has more of a slob face. Similar cup size.
That's
should have stuck with basketball, dude.
That kid.
And I was like hella confident like that too as a kid, just like slumped over like fuck that. Take a
really?
Of me by the pool. Yeah, hell yeah.
That's hilarious.
Tits out for the boys because we had a pool at my like family's house, or my parents had a pool, so like everyone in my family was just like coming over, and I was just tits out for the boys, dude. Just fucking gushers, fucking feet slapping. And then like I got Super Nintendo, motherfucker, and just like fucking tits out, like all breathing all hard, fucking hella hard, dude.
Would have had a fucking cigar if they would let you. I'm sure.
Dude, hell yeah.
This is a prize. I have seen this photo before, but didn't know the context. I don't think I think I've seen this photo without knowing that he was now a basketball player.
That looks exactly like me when I was a boy, dude. I remember seeing that and just being like, it was like Ratatouille. Have you ever seen Ratatouille when he ate that like meal and it took him back to his childhood? It was like, dang, dude, that's me.
All right, folks. If you enjoyed this episode of the Fight Plug podcast, please let us know in the comments. Please consider liking and subscribing, ringing the bell so you don't miss any of our future episodes. And with that, we'll see you in the next one, folks.
Good night.